helps Frank to a nearby cemetery. Frank opens up about the last day of his daughter's life, and Matt listens intently. As they finish talking, the police arrive. Brett goes to arrest Daredevil, but Matt tells him to take credit for capturing Frank. Brett agrees, letting Daredevil go. Matt insists people need to believe the system works. Later, Matt meets Foggy and Karen at Josie's bar, where they watch the news report on Frank's arrest. They toast Brett, who is hailed as a hero. While Foggy goes to get another round of drinks, Matt makes a move on Karen. Foggy sees this from the bar, but takes it in stride. Outside, Foggy jokes that Matt might end up happy for once. Karen offers to walk Matt home in the rain, and they share a kiss outside his apartment. Matt asks Karen on a date, and she agrees. Matt is all smiles when he gets home, but that changes when he senses someone in his apartment. The scene shifts to 10 years earlier, where Matt and Foggy are at a party, enjoying some food. Matt steps outside to get a drink, where a group of wealthy people is gathered. As he listens to the conversations, he picks up on a peculiar sound coming from Elektra. A security guard notices Matt and tries to stop him, asking how he got there since Matt doesn't have an invitation. Elektra saves Matt from being kicked out and then mocks him, calling him a boring and naive poor student. Matt counters her insults by calling her a bored, rich girl. Intrigued, Elektra takes a liking to Matt, and the two speed off in her likely stolen Porsche. Later, Elektra brings Matt to his father's old gym, where Matt opens up about how his father was killed by a criminal named Roscoe Sweeney. Elektra then takes a swing at Matt, testing her theory that he's more than just a blind law student.
You never saw your father fight.
No, not a breakable wall. Okay, let's get this. We'll take this. And this chest. Perfect. It's better. It's a good update. Yeah. Alright, anyways. Let's run this way, I think. Oh, wait. No. Hold up. Hold up. Can't go through there, so it's got to be through this. Oh, we can't get through there. Confucius say... Okay, here we go. Here we go. Don't want to pet. I don't want to give people money.
Surrounded, son. Be a good lad and drop the iron.
Brett Mahoney is investigating a murder when Daredevil shows up, asking if the Punisher is responsible. Brett reluctantly shares that the Irish are after Frank. He also criticizes Daredevil, saying vigilantes make things harder for the police. Matt insists they're on the same side. Just before leaving, Matt overhears a radio call revealing the location where Frank was captured by the Irish. Karen breaks into Frank's house. She finds signs of a family life, including a room for Frank's daughter, Lisa. She also sees photos of Frank with his wife and children, along with evidence of his military service. The house has been left exactly as it was, and Karen becomes emotional.
Who did this? Go to hell. Bless you. Where is he? You're showing me something I haven't seen before. Free. Has all the signs of a man seeking retribution. Seems like you're taking a liking to this month. Keep your life until the cash is there in hand. Yeah. Yeah, I got the kid. Hold on.
After the fight, Daredevil helps Frank to a nearby cemetery. Frank opens up about the last day of his daughter's life, and Matt listens intently. As they finish talking, the police arrive. Frank goes to arrest Daredevil, but Matt tells him to take credit for capturing Frank. Frank agrees, letting Daredevil go. Matt insists people need to believe the system works. Later, Matt meets Foggy and Karen at Josie's bar, where they watch the news report on Frank's arrest. They toast Brett, who is hailed as a hero. While Foggy goes to get another round of drinks, Matt makes a move on Karen. Foggy sees this from the bar, but takes it in stride. Outside, Foggy jokes that Matt might end up happy for once. Karen offers to walk Matt home in the rain, and they share a kiss outside his apartment. Matt asks Karen on a date, and she agrees. Matt is all smiles when he gets home, but that changes when he senses someone in his apartment. The scene shifts to 10 years earlier, where Matt and Foggy are at a party, enjoying some food. Matt steps outside to get a drink, where a group of wealthy people is gathered. As he listens to the conversations, he picks up on a peculiar sound coming from Electra. A security guard notices Matt and tries to stop him, asking how he got there since Matt doesn't have an invitation. Electra saves Matt from being kicked out and then mocks him, calling him a boring and naive poor student. Matt counters her insults by calling her a bored, rich girl. Intrigued, Electra takes a liking to Matt, and the two speed off in her likely stolen Porsche. Later, Electra brings Matt to his father's old gym, where Matt opens up about how his father was killed by a criminal named Roscoe Sweeney. Electra then takes a swing at Matt, testing her theory that he's more than just a blind law student.
You never saw him before the fight.
Oh, I saw him get his ass beat more times than I can count.
Did he die in the ring?
He's wrong.
It's a criminal.
Roscoe Sweeney.
Fix it.
Well, like I told you more in the last 10 minutes than I told anyone else.
You said you were blind?
The scene shifts to the present, where Electra is in Matt's apartment. Matt asks her why she's come back. Electra says she misses him, but Matt doesn't believe her. She explains that she's in town for a business meeting and needs Matt's help as a lawyer. However, Matt refuses to help her and asks her to leave. The next day, Matt, Foggy, and Karen meet in their office, which is in good condition. Karen, however, suggests that the Punisher might not be such a bad guy, sharing that she visited Frank's house and saw his family photos.
Goodness. Okay, you too. Let's talk business. Not plans, real ones, with bank in the bank.
I first knew word the bullet he took to the brain or his military record or his family. I sort of broke into his house.
You did what?
It was ill-advised. I know lots of much. Big is going on here, guys, and it all circles back to the castle.
I don't think you're wrong about the castle, but Teresa don't care. What's the bank? No, it's all good. There was a deposit. Yeah, do me a favor. Don't spend any of it. I was paid off by a potential client yesterday, so...
Matt arrives at the building where Electra is having a meeting. He climbs to the rooftop of the Yakatomi building and listens in on the meeting. During the meeting, Electra activates a device hidden in her pen, causing interference with rugs and servers. As things go awry in the room, Electra exits. Meanwhile, Karen arrives at Ben's office and meets with his boss, seeking assistance with the Punisher. She wants to uncover the truth about him, believing he might not be as bad as he seems. Ben's boss agrees to print the story, but requests that Karen keep it confidential. Karen agrees, and they head to the records room to find more information. The publisher eventually leaves the room, allowing Karen to search through the records on her own. Marcy meets with Foggy, who called her for a meeting. Initially, Marcy thinks it might be a date, but Foggy clarifies that he needs information about the DA's corrupt activities. Marcy reveals that the DA wants to kill Frank and that they're also planning to run for mayor. Foggy is alarmed, realizing the implications for Frank and the DA's increasing influence. Marcy also mentions Jessica Jones, who possesses unique powers. Karen continues searching the records and finds an article about a gang fight involving 3 gangs. She connects these gangs to the death of the Punisher's family and takes the newspaper with her as she leaves. Matt and Karen plan to celebrate their date night. When Karen steps away to use the washroom, Matt receives a call from Electra, who asks for his help.
I'll be back in just a minute.
Yeah.
Order something fantastic.
Matthew Murphy. You have a call. Mrs. Murphy.
But don't worry, you can keep the money. If you really want to be done, consider this me firing you.
When Karen returns, Matt tells her he has urgent business to attend to. Karen suspects Matt is avoiding their date, but Matt explains he wants to go somewhere more comfortable. Karen agrees, and they head to a different location where they spend quality time together. After walking Karen home and sharing a kiss, she invites him upstairs, but Matt declines, saying he doesn't want to complicate their relationship. As he leaves, Matt encounters two people attacking a man. The scene then shifts to the past, where Electra takes Matt to a suburban house. They confess their love and imagine a future together as a married couple with children. However, when the home arrives, Electra reveals that it is actually Roscoe Sweeney, the man who killed Matt's father. Back in the present, Electra is with Matt, and they talk when Matt suddenly senses danger. He warns Electra that people are coming to kill her. Electra explains that they are from the Yakuza gang and are after her because she stole their data. She calls Matt for help. Both don their costumes, ready for the challenges ahead. After the fight, Matt and Electra reach the rescue. Electra tells Matt that her actual mission is to stop the Black Sky. That's why she has stolen data from Yakuza gang. Matt tells her that if she wants to take help from him, she will not kill anyone in the future. Matt makes a deal with her that as soon as she finds Black Sky, she will leave and will not turn to Matt. Electra agrees on this. Karen and Boggy are in the office when a DA member arrives, requesting Karen's signature on a document stating that her friend tried to harm her. Karen notices this and refuses his help. Matt arrives and asks who the DA member is. The DA member likes to be Frank's defense lawyer, but admits that the DA has paid him to make this claim. Matt asks him to leave. After, Matt, Boggy, and Karen decide to fight for Frank's case to ensure he gets justice. They meet with Brett, who's been promoted to a high-security position. Matt tells Brett everything, and although Brett is initially hesitant, he agrees to help.
Not too bad. These must be the dogs going to attack Walker Vesta. I'm guessing this one.
That the last of them?
Good at making powerful enemies. So you know the name's on this one you did, Mr. Counsel. And we'd like to know why. I know what you did for Grotto.
Karen, Boggy, do you want answers? So do we.
Or you who knows.
Who's in there? You three out. things will go?
We have a little bit of business here.
Brickcastle already has counsel. Murdoch, is it?
Yeah, pleasure to meet you.
Leave this ward. Leave this man. Leave this entire case behind before you wake up 6 feet under the ash now.
We have our case files to back up our story. As your side looking, excellent mannerism is ready to think like person who shouldn't be here right now is you. Unlike his current legal counsel, we can actually help him. You already did. Says Nelson was lawyers now.
Finally feel like we have the upper hand against them.
An assistant arrives, sent by the client who had previously given them a large sum of money. Matt goes to Electra's car, and she insists that he must accompany her, providing him with clothes and change. Despite Matt's reluctance, Electra explains that the party they're attending is hosted by the Yakuza. Meanwhile, Foggy and Karen visit Frank, who refuses to share any information. Frank asks Foggy to leave so he can speak with Karen privately. Though initially resistant, Foggy leaves. Karen questions Frank about the day he lost his family. Frank explains that he was resting upstairs while a gang fight occurred far from his home. He was unaware that the gang would enter his house, where his wife and children were. When he heard noises and went downstairs, he found his family dead.
You and I know you and your family. You're the purest of
Should I go for her?
Yes, yes it is.
She know.
Matt and Electra arrive at the Yakuza's party. Electra is targeting a man named Gibson, who is heavily guarded. Matt uses his blindness to his advantage, spilling a drink on Gibson's clothes to force him to the bathroom.
Did you hit the switch?
We're not allowed.
Back with Frank, Karen tells him that she was fleeing the hospital with Ryan, but asserts that Frank never kills innocent people. Frank is emotional as he talks about his family. Foggy arrives and informs them that Frank might avoid execution, but could face life imprisonment if he admits guilt. Frank refuses to plead guilty and insists on speaking the truth.
Does the defendant plead?
Guilty.
Okay, never saw that coming.
You don't plead. They will be sentenced to liaise with the arbitrator.
What's behind you?
But he is unavailable. Electra and Matt locate the files they need on the floor of the building. Electra opens a cupboard, but finds no files. They discover a secret room leading to the documents. As they try to escape, the Yakuza gang arrives. Matt and Electra pretend to be engaged in intimate activity, fooling the Yakuza into believing they are only there for that purpose, and are allowed to leave. Once back in their car, Matt and Electra read the documents and discover details about a labor shipment, mostly from Japan. They are shocked by the shipment details, but the documents are in a language they cannot decode. Gibson is watching his office. Gibson pleads that he did not
let's keep
convince the
clean.
Yakuza, who receives a cryptic response that they are not Yakuza after all. Matt returns to Foggy, who is worried about Frank refusing to admit guilt for his accusations. Frank is washing his face as he prepares to move from jail to court. The court hearing has started, with some people in favor of Frank and others against him. The judge says that after hearing all the suggestions, they will have to conclude Frank's fate. Frank arrives at the court. Matt, Foggy, and Karen give their statements.
I think it's Adam.
Anywhere for me? Like the only thing protecting us is Frank.
I just moved my family to New York, and now we're moving out.
You're right. That's what we should be home. Doing things the cops wouldn't do for putting all the thieves and muggers and rapists forward where they belong.
If anyone can kill anyone in this town, where does the insanity end?
Let those bastards feel scared walking down the street for a change.
In the next scene, Matt, Karen, and Foggy are sitting in their office discussing how they will save Frank, as it is a difficult case. They decide to present Frank as mentally unstable to reduce his punishment. However, they need Frank's permission first, so Karen goes to the prison where Frank is being held. Karen is thoroughly checked by security to ensure she is not carrying any weapons. She then enters Frank's room and explains the plan to him, but Frank refuses because he does not want to be labeled as insane. Karen insists, warning him that if he keeps denying it, he will remain in jail forever and will never be able to find the people involved in his family's murder. Frank still disagrees, but Karen reveals that the people he believes are responsible for his family's deaths are not actually the killers. She has done research and found other people involved. Frank is shocked by this revelation. Meanwhile, Matt is in the office when he receives a call from Elektra. She calls Matt to meet her urgently. Matt refuses to meet her because he knows he has to go to court to fight Frank's case. However, Elektra tells him that it's important. She gives the time of 2 hours to Matt to come to his target location.
If the next one, I swear, all we want to do is eat new food that kind of good quality. Yeah.
Elektra and Matt simply both like for In the office, Karen and Foggy discuss Frank's refusal of their plan. They talk about their next move. Foggy is angry with Matt, feeling that Matt is not giving enough attention to Frank's case. He is unaware of Matt's involvement in Yakuza Gang and Elektra case. The opening statement is due in court tomorrow, so Foggy and Karen start working on it themselves. Foggy has prepared and practiced the statement which he is going to present in the court tomorrow. Matt and Elektra reach the location where a Yakuza shipment is expected. Matt sees the containers and comments on the large amount of luggage. Elektra opens them, only to find it's a trap set by the Yakuza. Yakuza members arrive, and a fight breaks out. During the fight, Matt warns Elektra not to kill anyone. Gets injured, so Matt takes her to his house for medical treatment. Elektra is shocked to see so many injuries on Matt's body. She asks him about them, and Matt explains. After that, they both fall asleep. The next morning, Matt wakes up in a hurry as he's already late for the court trial. Foggy and Karen are sitting in the courtroom, feeling nervous because Matt, who is crucial to saving Frank, hasn't arrived yet. The DA gives her statement, and then Foggy, though nervous, delivers his statement.
Frank Castle, brutally tortured and murdered 30 people, 30,000 most violent executioner. And justice does not belong in the hands of a man like Frank Castle. This isn't the Wild West. This man is no hero. He's a serial killer. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Mr. Castle is as much a victim as not. Aside from being a decorated Marine, the man before you is a good husband and an excellent father. His wife, young son, and daughter were brutally murdered by criminals. See, Frank Castle never came home. He just traded in one war's home for another. That system's mistakes. The prosecution wants blood. So all I'm asking of you today, keep an open mind. That's a pretty thick slice of bulletproof there, Castle.
After the court hearing, Foggy angrily confronts Matt outside, clearly upset and confused about what Matt has been doing. Matt tries to explain himself and calm Foggy down, but Foggy is too frustrated and refuses to listen. Matt, realizing he can't convince Foggy right now, then turns to Karen. He takes her back to his house to have a more private discussion about the case, hoping to figure out their next steps. After talking for a while and going over their plan, Karen leaves. Elektra, who had been in the house the whole time, overheard parts of their conversation and comes downstairs. Matt notices her and immediately becomes angry, telling her not to listen in on his private conversations. Elektra responds coolly, saying she has no interest in his personal affairs or the case. Matt, still frustrated, asks her to leave because he needs to focus and practice for the trial the next day. Without arguing, Elektra leaves the room, giving Matt the space he needs to prepare for what's coming. The next day, the court hearing begins. An examiner, who has altered a report, is present and is visibly nervous. He asks the judge if he can confess something.
Old
I
man's
need to say something about what I did.
There's a lot left in a catechist's joint, like twisting
Stick
through.
with me. If I didn't fix the case reports, she'd come after my family next. You can fire me, arrest me, I don't care. After last night,
Doctor, did something happen to the get back to her testimony?
she was in my house. If I didn't tell the defense what really happened, he'd hunt me down, kill me.
If my office finds out that your firm had anything to do with this,
For all we know, it was you who sent those goons.
I've got enough striking the doctor's entire testimony and instructing the jurors to disregard anything they may have heard.
It was like a diplomat's daughter, a debutante, not anymore. Infiltrating her.
Of course.
She was going to get herself, but she drives me over. Yeah, I'm trying to protect this everybody. That's everything. I've never told her anything about the trial. No one's making you it's lying to your friends. People know. If for any indication, you sure as hell haven't been here. Tell your girlfriend to stay away from my trial. She's not. Electra's not my girlfriend.
Matt confronts Elektra and warns her to stay out of his personal life. They then head to a Yakuza location, where they discover a massive digging site. As they are examining the large digging hole, they are suddenly attacked from behind. The attackers are dressed in ninja costumes, and it's clear they are highly trained fighters. A fierce battle breaks out between them. Elektra is on the verge of taking one of the ninja's lives when Matt quickly stops her, urging her not to kill him. However, in that brief moment of hesitation, the ninja takes advantage and strikes Elektra. A man named Stick appears and swiftly kills all the ninjas in the area. Stick, along with his assistant, helps Matt and Elektra escape. While running, Matt asks Stick if he knows anything about these attackers. Stick remains silent for a moment and then tells Matt that the fight they are caught up in is going to be huge, and the people responsible will never stop hunting. Worried about Elektra's condition as it worsens, brings her back to his home. Stick quickly prepares an antidote for the poison and applies it to Elektra's wound. She remains unconscious, but her condition starts to stabilize. During this time, Matt senses that Stick knows Elektra from the past, which puzzles him. Meanwhile, Karen is waiting anxiously at the door for Matt. Foggy shows up and informs Karen that Matt will not be coming today. This news makes Karen quite upset, but she hides her disappointment.
Colonel, you know, it's like the part of a decade.
Lieutenant Frank Castle won the Navy Cross.
Lieutenant Frank Castle was part of a small team. He was conducting a close target reconnaissance in the vicinity of the Hindu Kush. Lieutenant Castle wanted to abort. Officer in charge said no. Within the first hour, the officer in charge of the mission got his arm blown off. Frank went to the LZ, all by himself. All the bastards were. Frank Castle, standing there grinning. 32 more surrounding him, all dead. I would say Frank Castle was a man who would gladly give his life to keep others safe. Lieutenant Frank Castle that I knew was a job. No more questions.
He said the only people who truly know what happened are the ones that were there.
He didn't listen to Frank. Got his men trapped. We're looking at him.
Back at Matt's house, Matt and Stick are sitting together. Matt asks Stick how he knows Elektra. Stick reveals that Elektra works for him, and that they've been trying to prevent a war. But that war has now begun, and won't stop. Stick explains a story from long ago, about a village where invaders came and killed everyone, except for one child. That child took up a knife and, in a rage, killed many of the attackers. The child grew up and formed an army to fight back against the organization that caused the massacre. Stick goes on to explain that the organization behind the attacks is called the Hand, and that they are the same people they fought earlier. Stick tells Matt that the Hand is after a powerful weapon known as the Black Sky, and that Elektra has been working with him to stop them. Matt is shocked to learn all of this.
Many of your other patients witnessed their families being brutally murdered. He's the only one. You killed him! It was dead what you did! It was dead! Now he's gone! I did that. I can't. I took his father from him. I did that.
The jury has to know what happened to you, what you go through. Like, that might not be important to you, but it is important to me. They'll think that you're a monster. But I know that you're not. You're not.
And eventually, Frank agrees to share his story. Karen is excited and quickly tells Foggy the good news. Foggy warns her that they will need Matt's help to make the plan work. Matt, back at his house, confronts Elektra. He asks her if meeting him was part of a plan or just a coincidence. Elektra admits that initially it was a mission, but as she spent more time with Matt, she truly fell in love with him. She explains that she wanted Matt to be like her. She fails. Matt responds by telling her that he loves her too, and if she can change and become better, they could make a great team and work together. Electra listens and starts to think about his words. Just then, Karen arrives to discuss Frank's case with Matt, but is shocked to see him sitting so close with another woman. The next day, when Matt arrives in court, he tries to talk to Karen and explain, but she is too upset and refuses to listen.
Yeah!
Matt reminds him that they need to focus on Frank's case. The trial begins, and suddenly, a police officer whispers something into Frank's ear. Frank starts thinking intensely.
Let's take it in for the right. Frank Castle. Frank. Man, they call you Frank. What happened that day? The day your family was so tragically killed. Who understands that? Do you? You don't want to tell us? I'll tell you. You're the kind of man that's sitting.
Got it.
People like themselves, the kind of people who risk their lives. We need heroes. Frank Castle wanted to help, but he took it too far. He's not a common criminal. He's not malicious. And in fact, Frank Castle is actually a good man. He needs help. You have to decide what kind of jury you want to be. This like that. Once I put down the people I killed, I want you to know that I do it all again. Any little life, any maggot piece of shit that I put down, I get it. Because I know it, Peter. I know. You think you fucking Punisher, ain't that right? The big bad Punisher. The big liar, the big bad.
I can only imagine what was going on in Matt's head when all their hard work to get him out turns into Frank yapping about killing everyone, which is going to lead him to execution or, at best, life in prison.
Now I get it, because I know it, Peter. What? Bro, what are you talking about? I'm just noticing they're gonna get me to stop doing what I want to do. You provoked him. I didn't provoke him. He's talking for you. I'm glad we lost. You hear me? I'm glad.
Later, back at Matt's house, Stick is sitting alone when Electra arrives. She tells Stick to leave, stating that she believes she and Matt can handle the situation themselves. Electra assures Stick that she will stay with Matt and follow his rules. Stick tries to convince her that Matt's rules won't work in their fight, but Electra refuses to listen. Angry and frustrated, Stick leaves. When Matt returns and finds out Stick is gone, he is happy about Electra's decision to stay with him and follow his way of doing things. However, as soon as Matt steps out of the room, a ninja from the Hand organization attacks him with a poisoned weapon. Meanwhile, Frank is in jail, heavily guarded. The guards take him to a room where Wilson Fisk, the kingpin, is waiting for him. Fisk smiles when he sees Frank, and it's clear that something sinister is about to unfold.
I see you got my message.
The scene then shifts to the past, where Daredevil had successfully caught Wilson Fisk and sent him to jail. While in jail, a lawyer came to meet Fisk and spoke to him through the phone. The lawyer informed Fisk that they had taken his beloved Vanessa Fisk to a safe place where she could be protected. However, the lawyer also mentioned that they didn't have much money left, so Fisk needed to behave well in jail in order to reduce his punishment. While in jail, Fisk crossed paths with a dangerous drug dealer named Dutton. Dutton, who considered himself the master of the jail and ruled over all the prisoners, threatened Fisk, warning him not to step out of line, or else they would hurt him. Fisk, always thinking ahead, didn't respond directly, but began observing the jail and its power dynamics. He quietly gathered information about Dutton, and found out that there were some people in the jail who didn't like Dutton at all. Fisk decided to take advantage of this, and cleverly recruited 2 of those people to form a small team that could stand up to Dutton. Even though Fisk's lawyer warned him not to get involved in such risky plans, Fisk ignored the advice and continued with his scheme. When the police officer whispered in Frank's ear during the court trial, it was revealed that the message came directly from Fisk. Now the scene shifts to the present, where Frank and Fisk are standing face to face.
Glad we have this chance to meet. What happened to your family that day? Don't you do that. You don't talk about my family. You got that. There's a man. Here. In the big box. This man. He most definitely had a hand in the massacre in the park. It's not Irish. It's not cartel. I believe that he facilitated the deal between the three groups that you've been targeting. He controls much of this prison. Made my life here difficult.
Well, I don't help. Shitbag has been mob bosses.
Has been.
You heard what I said.
I'm simply proposing an arrangement.
I don't do arrangements.
Yes, I benefit from your actions, but the tide raises all ships, Mr. Castle. If you need my help,
One guard on our side, but you only have a 7-minute window to reach them. Get your answers and get out. After this, you and me.
yes, done. The ship is the best I can offer. Something tells me you'll make it.
Foggy arrives to see Matt and tries to advise him to stop doing what he is doing. Foggy feels that Matt is getting in too deep with dangerous people and situations, but Matt, still determined, tells Foggy that he has to deal with many people and can't just stop now. Feeling frustrated and hurt, Foggy decides to end his friendship with Matt and walks away. Karen goes to the publisher's office to find more details about the case. Together, they decide to visit the doctor who had conducted the autopsies on the people killed. Karen and the publisher go to meet the doctor, and they discover that he was actually an undercover policeman sent by the authorities to keep an eye on the entire situation. Karen realizes that the police knew in advance that a fight between the three gangs was going to happen, but they did nothing to prevent it. They could have stopped the violence, but chose not to. Karen also discovers that Frank's family was killed intentionally to cover up the mistakes made by the police and the district attorney. Realizing this, Karen decides to continue working on the case. The publisher offers Karen Ben's old office, and Karen feels emotional, remembering Ben and the work they did together. As the guards change shifts, Frank heads to Dutton's cell.
Anything at all. I'm gonna open you up like a bag. I'll watch you bleed out all over this floor. You parasite head. I hear you were there. You goddamn motherfucker. How were you doing there? You don't even pull the trigger with me. Not as dumb as they thought you were. You realize what it was. It's infiltrated one of the gangs. I'm not sure which. They found out how big the deal was. There were almost 100 bangers that day. And every finger found a trigger. All I know is they had a line up there on our own ship from the Middle East. They called them the blacksmith, and when they realized it wasn't going to show, someone started shooting. It's a crusade of yours. It's never going to happen, right? Open the door. I couldn't have done it without you.